Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Amitabha. I'm Bi Hong, and my Dharma name is Chao Li. Welcome and Kan En for being with us.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Kuan.
Good afternoon. I'm Lay Poh, Shih.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to be back again. My name is Chris.
Kan En, everyone. So let's share screen. Okay, today the book we are sharing is Infinite Teachings, Infinite Meanings by Dharma Master Shih Cheng. And part 2, chapter 4 talks about turn the great Dharma wheel, give rise to great compassion and work to relieve suffering. The Buddha expounded the Dharma and transformed sentient beings by turning the great Dharma wheel. As the wheel turns, it crushes all kinds of afflictions. The Buddha, upon enlightenment, mentioned that every one of us has the pure innate nature like him, the great enlightened one. That means you, me, him, her, everyone can be future Buddha. When I first heard this some years back, I was thinking, I smiled and I think, how can I possibly be future Buddha, you know? But after joining Shih and learning the Dharma, I realized that, yes, I can at least work towards Buddhahood. We need to turn the wheel of Dharma, turn the wheel of the mind to have clarity of Buddha's teachings. Then we can turn the great Dharma wheel to cleanse the impurities in us, to give rise to compassion and work to relieve suffering. So what did Buddha first teach us? In Buddha's first sermon, he laid the foundation of all his teachings with the Four Noble Truths. So what are the Four Noble Truths? The first is understanding suffering, dukkha. Life is full of suffering. Actually, suffering, there are two types of suffering. One is physical suffering, which is, like example would be giving birth to a child in childbearing. And you can ask all the mothers here, are there mothers here? You can type down there whether you experience suffering or not. And in fact, some years back, my friend was telling me, the pain is so unbearable, she wanted to jump out of the window. Of course, she didn't. And she only has one child, you know, because the pain is too much for her to bear. So another form of suffering would be aging. We hear old people saying that they have body aches, here ache, there ache, you know, everywhere they ache. But nowadays, unfortunately, we hear young people saying that they suffer from body pain as well. So another form of suffering would be illness and death. The second type of suffering is emotional suffering, parting with those that we love, or meeting those that we do not like or hate. And the third one would be not attaining what we want or what we desire. So we need to understand that all these are sufferings that we encounter in our day-to-day life. The second would be knowing the cause of suffering, samudaya. Suffering is caused by habitual tendencies. Because being human, we have this human body which causes suffering. The 6 roots of our eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body and mind, when encountering the 6 objects of form, sound, smell, taste, tongue, and mental object, stir up our consciousness to give rise to streams of thoughts and action, namely greed. We want things not enough, our greed, and then anger because of our ego, delusion or ignorance, and jealousy and arrogance. So all these are the cause of suffering. So next would be seeking the cessation of suffering. suffering can be overcome. So that's good news. Suffering can be overcome. The fourth noble truth is realizing the path to the cessation of suffering, Manga. The Noble Eightfold Path is a solution to suffering. So here is likened to the medicine. Just like when we are ill, we go and see doctor, and doctor say that doctor need to find out the cause of it, and then doctor gives us prescription telling us, yes, it can be cured. And the medicine is just like the fourth, teaching us how to get rid of all this suffering. So here, number one is understanding suffering. Understand that suffering in life is suffer. Number two is knowing that there is, what is the cause? And then number three is there is a cure for it, or we can get rid of this suffering. And the fourth is the path, what we need to do to get rid of suffering. So the Noble Eightfold Path is to liberate us from suffering. These guides towards liberation are central to Jingsi Dharma lineage path and are symbolically embedded in the Shih logo, which includes the 8 lotus petals. And you see the 4 petals on the left and 4 petals on the right. It represents the 8 noble fold path. So first would be right view and right understanding. So what do we mean by right view? Right views are clear and perfect understanding of the 4 noble truths. Understanding karmic law of cause and effect. For example, we plant a papaya seed, we get papaya, we don't get durians. If we want durian, we need to plant durian seeds, yeah? So the next one would be impermanence. We need to understand that everything in this world is impermanent. Then we will be able to become less attached, not attached to whatever we have. Next will be existence in true, wondrous existence in true emptiness, which we covered in our previous session already. So all these are the key to open our minds to the path of Buddhahood. Next would be right intention and right thoughts. We need to have thoughts of sincerity, integrity, and honesty. If we have ignorance and greed, that would be wrong thoughts. After right thoughts, we need to have right speech. What we say is important. The wrong speech, that means we don't have lies, we do not tell lies, we do not exaggerate things, we don't gossip, and we don't double talk, you know. So this is having right speech. The next one would be right action and right conduct. Whatever we have, Master Cheng always teaches that whatever Dharma that we learn, we need to put into action. So this is the right action. And after right action, we have right livelihood. That means in our livelihood, we need to have right view, understanding it the correct way. Then we need to have right intention, right speech, and right conduct. And that will lead us to have right livelihood. And how do we ensure that we have right livelihood? We need to follow these 10 precepts. So what are precepts actually? Precepts are like rules and is a way for us to practice self-discipline, to cultivate our mind, abides by the principles of being a decent person. Precepts protect us and offer insight into how to live a more meaningful life. If you notice, the first 5 precepts are basic Buddhist precepts of upholding the code of conduct. And the second 5 precepts are added on by Dharma Master for cultivating goodness and bringing benefit to living beings. So these, the next would be right effort. We need to put in effort. Otherwise, we won't be able to have right speech and right action and right livelihood. And after that, we need to have right mindfulness. And Master Cheng Yen every day remind us to be mindful. After all her Dharma talks, she would say, Toh Yong Sing, that means be mindful. And last would be right concentration or right samadhi. Now, this is the last one. So in order to have right samadhi, we need to have all the other. We need to have right views, right intention, right speech, right conduct, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness. Otherwise, we won't be able to have a peace of mind. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes people normally, for me, I felt that most of us, we would say things that we felt is right, and we would do things that we think is right. If it is wrong, I don't think we would do it, or I don't think we would say it. But our right, what we say and do in our mind is right, but is our view right? Because each of us have a different perception, and my right may not be right, it could be wrong. So it is important to have right view. Otherwise, our speech and action will be wrong. Yeah? So the 8 steps of the Code of Noble Fold Path supports the 3 essential factors of Buddhist teachings, namely wisdom. Wisdom, you need to have right view and right thoughts. Ethical conduct, that means our physical conduct will be right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Then the third one will be mental discipline, that means our mindset. We need to have right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So all this sums up, and once we understand all these, you'll find that in life wouldn't be so full of suffering, because once you have the right attitude, like for example, the 10 precepts, no killing. In the past, I never thought that I'm guilty of killing. But do you kill mosquitoes? Do you kill ants? I think most of us are guilty of doing that. But be mindful, we can stop killing. And another form of killing, which is most of us are not aware of, is that it's indirect killing, meaning we have meat in our diet. Eating meat causes indirect killing, because animals need to be slaughtered for us before they can come to our table as food. Yeah? So we are contributing towards killing. And the most important thing is we need to sort of like follow vegetarian diet, then we would comply with this, no killing. No stealing, no fornication, no lies, and no alcohol. Because all this would be our Buddhist code of conduct. If we don't comply with this, we'll behave wrongly, and couldn't control our mind. There's no smoking, no drugs, and no betel nuts. I think betel nuts is added on because in Taiwan, they chew a lot of betel nuts. So this is added on. But nowadays, I noticed that they don't chew that much already. No gambling, no speculation. Be filial to our parents, abide by traffic rules, and no politics. So as long as we follow these 10 precepts, we would have right livelihood. And bearing all this in mind, I felt that it will help us to lead a happier life. So let's see what Dharma Master has to say. Yeah? When shocking disasters happen, we must awaken. We must realize what we did is wrong. Yeah? What we have been doing is wrong. We can then create new causes, change the pattern, altering our course. This is the way to prevent future disasters and proactively create peace, blessings, and well-beings for our world. So Master Cheng Yen advises, especially during this COVID-19, she advises, number 1, to eat vegetarian food, to follow vegetarianism. Number 2 will be have prayers and repentance for our wrongdoing. Yeah? So this is Master Cheng Yen's teaching. So next, let us invite Sister Kuan to share with us on self-discipline and self-restraint. Sister Kuan, the screen is yours. Cảm ơn.
Good afternoon. Is Sir Kuan here? I can't see. Can you see my
Share screen.
screen?
Time lapse. Share already. Okay. Yes, share already. The full screen.
I'm going to share 5 dialogue sessions Dharma Master had with her visitors. First, the importance of self-discipline and restraint. A gynecologist expressed his concern that because of the liberal lifestyle, he had a lot of unmarried women who came to him for abortions. He had a difficult decision to decide whether to perform the abortion or not. Dharma Master Chen Yan answered, I'm a religious person and I respect life regardless of the circumstances on how the baby is conceived. All lives are innocent. The problem is due to today's education, the lack of restraint and morality. It is important that we have self-discipline and control so that before things happen, these difficulties would not arise. After I prepared this, I suddenly recall my own experience. My 18-year-old son was due to leave home for the first time for his further studies. Being a naive and ignorant child, I was concerned about this part, but it was very difficult for me to mention. So about a week before he was due to leave, I seated him at the dinner table together with his sister, who is 3 years younger than him. I said to him this, son, remember, whatever you do that you cannot tell mom means it's wrong. He cheekily replied, Mom, I will do it and then tell you. We left it as that. Many years later, in his 20s, when he came home, I said to him this, son, we are clean and healthy. The people we meet may not be so. It is important for you to be careful and take the necessary protection. However, should someone be pregnant because of you, you must be prepared to marry her. I don't know whether I said the right thing or not, but that was what I said to my son. This drawing is a courthouse, is a courtroom. Next, this is the High Court of London. The building is very majestic. The next is a group of legal professionals went to see Dharma Master. They were concerned that there are a lot of legal criminal cases which reflect the proliferation of societal disorder. Dharma Master answered, people's mind nowadays are in a state of agitation. It is for the legal professionals to uphold justice, for the court to examine thoroughly each case and give reasonable and fair rulings. Society needs law to maintain order, and if criminals do not receive fair sentences, society can be in turmoil. Also, if victims do not get justice, there can be social upheaval. Law needs to be fair in order to maintain stability in a country. Legal profession needs to address every legal case in a transparent and fair fashion. Next, This is quite familiar. I think we have seen this quite often in the last few months. It happened in a country in Asia. Great love is bias-free. A question was asked. One of Tzu Chi's 10 precepts prohibits participation in political demonstration and protests. Dharma Master Cheng answered, if we do not stand on the prohibition of participation in political demonstration and protests, then it will be difficult to keep away from political parties to influence us. Once Tzu Chi become biased, we will be unable to maintain transcend religious views. Religion is founded on great love, and it must be impartial. Buddha said, for a tree trunk to flow along the river to ocean, the tree trunk must be positioned in the middle of the road so as not to collide with the river banks and hinder its flow. Tzu Chi does not participate in politics, but certainly cares about government of our country. In this case, the context is about Taiwan government, as Master was talking in her country. Tzu Chi volunteers are encouraged to be law-abiding citizens, and during elections, we are to cast vote for the most virtuous and capable. Feeling basic duty of religion. Again, this is on a bit on the politics. If political power join a noble organization like Tzu Chi, could considerable influence Tzu Chi future, and the political climate could be more ethical and honorable, and Taiwan would have a better future. Dharma Master Cheng answered, religion and politics are two separate things. Tzu Chi always dedicates itself to its own duty. As a religious group, we should fulfill religious duties rather than try to influence politics. We should avoid mixing the two. Otherwise, it can lead to negative consequences. Nature provides us with abundance of healthy food. Earlier, Sister Bikong talked about vegetarianism. Someone came to see Dharma Master and said, in life, the 4 stages of life being birth, aging, illness, and death. Nowadays, many people suffer illness. How can we prevent it? Dharma Master said, take good care of your body. If we overindulge, we lay the foundation for illness. Smoking, drinking, and drugs usage pollute our body. It's just like a piece of land without soil and water conservation and being repeatedly pollute and damaged. We cannot prevent disasters if we continue to do so. Some people say everything in the world exists to be eaten by humans. Yet through our mouth, diseases enter our bodies. For example, foot and mouth disease, avian flu, etc. Infectious diseases related to our eating habits. To avoid these diseases, we need to control our diet. If we can educate the general public on healthy diet, we can eliminate these diseases. Health ultimately depends on ourselves. Health is in our own hands. In summary, education and morality. The institution teaches us knowledge to earn a living. But what are the things that the institution did not teach us? The institution did not appear to have taught us the importance of character building, learning self-discipline, creating positive habits, and cultivating civic mindedness. Judiciary. Judiciary is the system of laws that interprets and applies the law. It has to be fair in order to maintain order in a society. However, if we think about it, justice actually is in everybody's heart. Health is blessing. Good health is a blessing. Food is medicine. If we eat the right food, we get health. If we eat the wrong food, we have to take medicine. We encourage a plant-based diet. Health experts have also advised and encouraged us to take a plant-based diet, especially with the current pandemic. We are concerned about climate change, irregular weather conditions, and we see in Asia in recent month, this month, that flood in China affected almost 60% of the country. We need to be concerned of environmental protection as we are depleting the limited resources of the earth. And going on a plant-based diet is reflection of our compassionate nature. Thank you. That's the end of my sharing.
感恩 Sister Kuan for sharing, and also Sister Kuan covers on one of the precepts why Master Cheng Yen mentioned that the last precepts, no politics. Yeah, that's the reason. She explained it very well. So next, let me share a few stories or scenarios in this book. The first one would be mobilize people to bring timely disaster relief. Floods mainly due to damage by natural environment caused by humans. Ultimate solutions will be preemptive approach of soil conservation, whereas saving victims of flooding is responsive approach. Is such a correct view? What do you think? You think that this is a correct view? You can type your answer at the live chat, yeah? And we can see what you type and share it with everyone. So let's see what is the answer given. Full recovery from long-term damage to environment requires time. Disaster relief is urgent and indispensable. So here, under this scenario, just now would be wrong view. Preemptive approach would be wrong view. The right view would be immediate disaster relief given to save lives. So here, the view may be correct, but depending on the situation or the circumstances, then it could be wrong, yeah? So it depends on the cases, on the case of the situation. So the second one would be important to have ideals, but need to be practical, lest turn into fantasies. Cannot accomplish anything just by thinking about it. So if we have good thoughts, we must always put into action and not just thinking, and it will become fantasies. So Master always advises, must seize every moment to do. Start with the self, then lead others, and gradually the entire society can form a consensus. So here we must put in right effort to meet the right view or right understanding, the objective, yeah? So the second one will be plant a tree and protect our trees. A father and son bought a piece of land and grew trees for the last 3 years, wish to dedicate their lives to continue planting trees. Plan to expand even beyond Taiwan. So is this right view and right understanding? If it is, you can type it down in the live chat. Now, what is the answer given? It is good to grow and protect trees, but do not become attached. If concerned about how many trees been planted and how wide a space been covered, it will become an obsession. Spread the concept of protecting trees so that the public will stop overdeveloping. Takes decades to grow trees, but only 5 minutes to cut it down. So here, even though planting trees is right view, but it needs to go together with protecting trees. Because if you just plant trees, you will not be able to plant it on time for people to cut it down. So educating the public to protect our trees is just as important. Next, transform angry thoughts before speaking. How can we stop trying to avenge evil and instead deal with people more gently? The answer is, I also get angry and wonder, how can you do something like this? But trust that this person one day will definitely change for the better. So when angry emotions arise, we need to calm ourselves. Once our mind is calmed, we can speak gently to avoid hurting others or causing conflicts. Some people refrain from talking when they are angry by quickly walking away in order to prevent conflicts. I must say I'm guilty because in the past when I get angry, I walk away because I know that if I don't, if I don't walk away, I'll say something which I regret. Yeah, so instead of saying something that I regret and cannot take back, I walk away. So what is the answer again? But may hurt others because they can feel our anger. Showing our anger is also a sign of lack of self-cultivation. We should practice self-cultivation and strive for a state in which there is no one in the world that we do not love. So after realizing that, walking away, people can feel our anger and also a sign of lack of cultivation, what I do nowadays is I count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But before I count to 10, I count to 3, then my temper cools down. So when it cools down, I sort of like no longer get angry. Yeah? So I'm be able to control my emotion. So the next one will be treat employees with gratitude. Business was hit by the financial crisis a few years ago. Though recovering, his business still faced a long comeback. He asked for advice. Worldly wealth is shared by 5 things: corrupt government, thieves, fire, floods, and unfilial children. So here it teaches us not to be too attached to our wealth, yeah, because if it is ours, it's ours. If not, it will disappear as well. So do not be too concerned. With a change of mindset, we can remain undisturbed, even when we cannot retain our wealth in troubled times. Need to think, why want to run business? Is it for ourselves with no concern for others? Need to contribute to society. Treat employees with gratitude. Then they will work hard and they can do job with ease. So sometimes you see, especially during COVID, this current situation, some companies, they really suffered from financial problems. And some of these employees, because their boss has been treating them well, they offered to a pay cut to help their company tide over this difficult situation. So treating the employees with gratitude is very important. And we need to contribute to society as well. So that will be right livelihood. So the last one will be, those who give will feel blessed. Buddhism talks about causes, condition, effects, and retributions. Suffering is the resulting retribution of a previous cause, which can only be eliminated through suffering. It if the suffering is prevented, will it keep the retribution from being eliminated? What do you all think? Do you all agree with this statement? If yes, you can type yes at the live chat. Now, what is the answer given? We should not assume that those who suffer deserve these painful retributions. Be inspired to help them with love, grateful for the chance to engage in spiritual practice. So here the view is wrong because, even though we know that he will suffer because of our karmic retribution of our past wrongdoing, but we shouldn't assume that what they suffer now, they deserve it. We need to be compassionate and be grateful that we have the chance to engage in spiritual practice. In Saha world, sentient beings experience different kinds of suffering. The Buddha teaches us how to liberate from suffering. Without blasted karmic affinities, even when help was offered, they will encounter obstacles and not able to reach those suffering. Yeah, it's true, because sometimes even we have the good intention of helping someone, but due to various reasons, this someone cannot receive our help. Yeah, so it's all back to this person's karmic affinity as well. That is why Tzu Chi volunteers go into society to guide the rich to help the poor and help the poor to realize their riches by giving their love. Thus, plant blessed horses. The chance to receive help can only come with blessed causes and conditions. So it's all in the karmic affinity. That's why Dharma Master Cheng Yen always advises to create good karmic affinity. So we always try to do that. So next, let us invite Sister Lay Poh to share on having faith and determination. Sister Lay Poh, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sister Bihong. Wait, I share my screen. All right. Okay, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Today, I'm going to talk about having faith and determination. Okay. Question 1. Some will consider themselves to be good people, and when they fall sick, they complain and wonder how this could happen when they have done so much good. Why is it so? The answer is they should be glad that they have done good deeds regularly. Many people have no chance to contribute. Actually, doing good deeds does not exempt us from getting sick. So with strong faith and determination, we will not be afraid of falling sick. Your confidence helps you be determined. It will be hard for a period of time, but if you can persevere, you can make it all the way through. Try to read some beneficial books. When people call you, do not pick up the phone. Chant the Buddha's name and remind yourself, I will not be influenced. Situation 1. A boy raised by a single father originally did well in school, but became addicted to drugs and neglected his studies. As an adult, he could not advance in his career. His marriage was also about to fall apart. His father desperately asked Master to help his son. Master told the son that a happy family is the greatest blessing in life. As he was the pillar of support for his family, he should cherish his affinity with his family and shoulder the household responsibility. Then his family could be at ease and enjoy a stable life. Simply knowing he must change is not enough. He must be determined, bolster his ambition, and direct his goal, his life towards his goal. Situation 2, a young man was approaching his 30s, but he was unfocused and unsettled. His actions often worried and saddened his elders. Master comforted him by saying that with healthy minds and proper beliefs, we will understand the path to personal success in life. If our beliefs are incorrect and our minds are filled with anger and hatred, then evil will grow from within and corrupt the joys and blessings of life. So, building a good mental foundation is the utmost importance. We must seize time and not waste a second of it. If we do not develop a healthy mind, we will simply commit more mistakes with every second that passes. But if we can develop a healthy mental environment, then in every second, we will live a successful life. Situation 3, a woman brought her husband to see Master. She said that her husband worried about the current economic downturn and didn't know how to deal with this challenge. Master said the current economic hardship impacts the entire economy. We need patience and perseverance to overcome this difficulty. However severe the storm is, it will eventually pass. The economic downturn will also pass. When the economy recovers, so will the business. Question 2. One woman said, when I was a child, I was afraid of being scolded by adults. Later, I was afraid of being scolded by my husband and by my supervisor at work. I've always been anxious. Oftentimes, I'm not able to do things to everyone's satisfaction. Master said, if you believe that you are doing the right thing, you should have faith in yourself and trust that you do not harbor any evil in your mind. You must also have faith that others too have love in their hearts. Do not think about how much you have contributed. Instead, see your work as your duty. As a human being, if you always count gains and losses, you will feel that everyone treats you unfairly. Now, the last situation, a high school graduate was doing well, but then he became addicted to video games and started associating with bad peers. He started using drugs. His mother was very worried. Here, let us take Master's advice as the conclusion for today. You must have confidence in yourself. As long as you have a strong will, no one can influence you. If you persevere, the future will be yours. If you change your life for the better, you will be truly outstanding. Next is Brother Chiket's sharing. I happened to listen to Brother Chiket's sharing about 10 years ago. The first thing that came to my mind was youngsters should listen to his talk. His life story is very interesting, inspiring, and down to earth. It gives audience the idea that once you have realized your shortcomings and you have the intention to change for the better, you are sure to be able to do so. Now, let us listen to what Brother Chiket has to say.
Hello, brother and sister. How are you? Thanks, Sister Puri invited me to share my little bit story and or past regarding the topic faith and determinations. I think I start with introduce myself first. I am Brother Chiket, and I also volunteer, volunteer in and I now staying in Bright. I also a university lecturer and a scientist in University Science Malaysia, and I main work is about doing research in medical physics and some teachings. Of course, being a scientist is always my dream since I was very young. Okay, but how to achieve this actually is very long story, very long story. Especially when you know my past, because of the two words, faith and determinations, changed my entire life. I grew up in a very poor family at that time. I am not the smart people, and during my secondary school or primary school, my result is very poor, terrible poor. I can't speak a complete sentence in Malay and English. I can't write a complete sentence, even a sentence I can't write in Malay and English. I can't understand, listening, everything, don't know. My result is very poor. I got very poor result. And during my secondary school, I think it's from 2 to from 4, I think I even edited with video game. I play video game day and night. When I come back from school, I even not open my school bag doing homeworks, nothing. And that time in my house, I even don't have a writing table. I don't have a writing table. My house totally cannot study. It's very difficult times. So what make the change? What is the turning point? Okay, because before that I was a very naughty student in school, in classes, fight with teacher, argue with teacher, and not study. So what is the turning point? One day, until I read a book. Okay, it's written by a pastor. It's not Master Cheng Yen, because that time I don't know nothing about Shih. I don't know nothing about Master Cheng Yen. But fortunately, I have a habit. I like reading. So I find a book. Yeah, hello. So this is the books. It's written by a pastor. Okay. He is a very famous and very humble pastor. And this is very famous books written by Noble Edit Fold. Of course, at that time, I read in Mandarin because I cannot read English at that time. But this is the original versions, the power of the positive thinking. Okay, written by the Noble Edit Fold. And then the two words changed my entire life. I even write during my form 6, they have a teacher, also a calligrapher, and also request the teacher write a sentence, and then I paste in my wall. I'll show you later. So how do I start to change, to make change? So let's continue. So after I make the decisions, I want to change my family destiny because I was from a very poor family, and also to achieve my dream as a scientist. I know the only way is to get into the university or further study, because my family is totally cannot provide me to further study, or all need to depend on my own. But because of my result was so poor at that times during my secondary school, especially my BM and BIs, Bahasa Melayu, I don't know how to start. The only way I can do is start from the beginning. As you can see, I started learn Bahasa Melayu seriously at my 18 years old. Form 5. This is the kick storybooks. Start learn step by step. At that time, I even cannot focus on English because I have no time to focus on both subjects. So after the SPMs, I only can started to learn English during my form 6. Actually, everything is not easy. Even after SPMs, I facing a lot of the difficulties and a lot of challenges. It's very difficult after even we make the determinations, even if we have faith, but we need to believe at our own everything. If we continuous and do not give up, we can achieve. I hope my little bit sharings today can inspire some maybe student or whoever always have the negative mindset, maybe think they cannot do this, they cannot do that. Actually, we can do everything with faith and determinations, faster actions.
Okay, thank you, Brother Chiket, for the inspiring sharing. Now I would like to pass the session back to Sister Bee Hong.
感恩 Sister Lay Poh for the sharing, and 感恩 to Brother Chiket. From here, we can see the right effort is so very important, which give him the determination to achieve what he achieved. Yeah. So with right effort, right mindfulness, then definitely the right samadhi will be there. So next, let us have Sister Chris to share. Sister Chris, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Sister Bee Hong. Sister Bee Hong have a very nice live hairstyle today. Okay. It's good to be back, and I'm so grateful to be able to do the sharing. Sister Bee Hong insists that I must come back every time we have this Friday sharing. And even though these stories are very, very short, it gives us lots of learning. And today I'm glad to have Sister Yan King and Sister Sue reading with me again some stories from this book. Also, let's start. So a father was worried about the son's choice of a university course. He actually has two sons, and one of them wanted to study economics, but he thought that was too academic and will not lead to a good job. So asked the son to change to accounting or law and then get a stable livelihood. But the son doesn't want to change. So he go and see Master. So Master says, tell him a story. Master says, there's a man who is already in his 60s, in a senior home, who has studied in Japan and Germany, attained PhD, and could speak 5 languages. He also has 3 sons, and all had master degree and great careers. So why did this man live alone in the senior home? So Master tell this father, your son is an adult now, so let him have his autonomy. So next to this father, it was a woman who envy because he says, she's this woman also from a wealthy family, and seeing how he worried about the son, he said, you are so fortunate to have sons. I'm so envious on you because I only have 2 daughters. And then in the same session with Master, there was another couple, seemingly with a good life with 3 daughters and 1 son. But she suffers. So the daughters were very mature, but the son, who is in his early 30s, was always giving them trouble. He has been a bad student, and now he borrows money from everybody, gets into fights and do all kinds of bad things. So the entire family suffered because of him. Outsiders who did not know the situation thought the woman had a good life, married to a highly regarded and even-tempered husband. But she lamented, I have been suffering my entire life. So Master immediately turned to the man who has the worrying about the son's choice of college major and say, "Did you hear that?" He nodded his head, seemingly aware that he should be content that his son is doing well. I have Sister Yankin reading Turning Career into a Mission. Oops.
Sister Chris, no sound.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to share, not to share sound. Okay, let me go back. Oh, forgot about sharing my sound. So sorry. Let's start again. Okay, we have Sister Yankin reading this.
Turning a career into a mission. One Churchy volunteer, who was the general manager of a large company, said, "Business is about competition, and the unavoidable pressure often troubles me. How should I deal with this?" Master answered, "When you are only focused on your career, naturally you will experience stress. On the other hand, look at our Churchy volunteers. Even though their missions are very hard work, they are joyous in their hearts. The difference is whether thoughts of gains and losses are involved. When you hope to gain, you are afraid to lose. This would not be a problem if you applied the same attitude of volunteering to your career. It is hard to avoid competition in your job. But if you see it as a duty and perform the best you can, then the competition will become a force that pushes you upward."
Thank you,
That's
Sister
the end. Thank
Yankin,
you.
for the sharing. So yeah, turning career into mission, mission, trying to our right effort and with right view. Just now we have Sister Bihong explaining. So we have another Ta'ai TV news reporter. He came to see Master because he felt very, he pity. He was hired to film a handicapped man, but he felt very bad about it. So he hesitated and went to see Master. So Master said, the amputee that you are reporting is actually very courageous. And I greatly admire this man who does not dwell on his losses, but actually happily cherish what he has. Though he has lost 2 legs and lives in a small shabby house, there's no trace of bitterness that can be found on his face. He gives the impression of a man of substance and cultivation. In my eyes, he is a true spiritual practitioner. His miserable situation does not influence his mind even slightly. He is really a role model worth documenting so people can learn from him. So again, this is not having a right view. Yeah. So if we have the right view, just like Master say, he is actually a role model for us to learn from. And here, the love and wisdom of a Bodhisattva, we have some members from the Teachers Association, Teachers Association, and we have Sister Sue reading this from us.
The love and wisdom of a Bodhisattva. A group of Shih Teachers Association members held a camp for disadvantaged children. Seeing the lives of these children, the teachers could not help but cry with pity. Master thought that they were too emotional and reminded them to be more composed. The living situations of these children are undoubtedly difficult, but they have grown up this way and are used to it. They probably do not feel they are suffering. On the contrary, Master was concerned that the teachers were showing excessive care for the children. They come to this camp and are pampered with love. They receive new clothes, good things, and clean and comfortable beds, which are all so different from the conditions at home. Will they start drawing comparisons after they return home and become unhappy? Though you give your love sincerely, it only lasts for a few days. How can such short-term care compare to that of their biological parents? But the children might easily make unjust comparison. If the children give rise to desires that cannot be satisfied, they will more likely to become rebellious. So, we should teach the children to be content. For example, we should say to them, it is unimportant whether a house is beautiful or ugly. If the house is tidy and neat, it is the most beautiful house. In addition, we should also teach them etiquette and gratitude. Let them understand that though my living situation is not ideal, my parents love me very much and work very hard. Finally, Master encouraged the teachers. You dedicate yourself wholeheartedly, treating other people's children as your own. You are certainly living bodhisattvas. But if a person only has a bodhisattva's love, but not a bodhisattva's wisdom, he will be like a bird with only one good wing. This is very dangerous. So maintain a bodhisattva's love, but also apply a bodhisattva's wisdom.
Thank you, Sister Sue, for the great sharing. Yeah, one wing only, then we'll be sengit already. So, yeah, most of us not having the right view, we spoil kids, but actually we should be teaching them etiquettes and gratitude. And yeah, most of us are already going back to work. When we started this, when this COVID kicked in, everybody was so scared. But Tzu Chi responded by giving PPE, we're doing face shield, we give away face masks, and then we have a lot of care packages that goes out to our care recipient. But this relief effort has not stopped yet. We are continuing with this relief effort. Why is that so? Let's look at poverty line. What is the definition of poverty line? So poverty threshold or a limit, or we call it break line, is the minimum level of income deemed adequate in a particular country. Is calculated by finding the total cost of all the essential resources that an average human adult consume in 1 year. So every country will have different poverty line. So in Malaysia, in 2019, our poverty line is income is 980. So that means that, what does that translate to? That translates to 0.4% of the household, or 1 in 250 household is poor or below poverty line. Not bad, right? For Malaysia. But unfortunately, this was based on 2005 methodology. So there was some criticism from the international platform and last year. So a new poverty line was drawn up. So yesterday, the day before, Putrajaya just announced the new poverty line, and it's 2,208 per household. That pushed the country's poverty rate now 14 times from 0.4% to 5.6%, or more than 400,000 families. That means 1 in every 18 household is very poor. Even this, the 5.6% is only 1/3 of what is estimated by a lot of independent analysts. So based on the same poverty line income methodology, Malaysia would have been 7.6% with 525,000 per household in poverty in 2016. So comparing to 2019, we actually improved because now we have only 400 over 1,000. But what happened now? So with the COVID-19, the number of households will increase. Now we have 400,000. What happened to this? A lot of us has returned home, but a lot of us also have not returned to the full hours. Maybe some have returned to half, 20 hours a work week, maybe some contracts are not coming as a lot of people who are renovating. Just now I met a father who has 6 of them in the house, school-going children, and he's an electrician. But a lot of us have put repair work, we have postponed it. Any renovation, we have also postponed it. So what happened to these contractors? What happened to the tourist industry? People who works in the tourist industry. The other day, I met a mother who was working with an escape theme park, and she has lost her work because tourism is not coming back. So what happened to this unemployment rate in May? That is 5.3%. 1 in every 19 of us is jobless. The loss of livelihood, these tight living spaces, depleting daily necessities. What does it mean to our vulnerable communities? Yes, they did receive handouts or receive some compensation from the government, but 3 months, is that enough? So financial stress will lead, we all know it will lead to a lot of physical problems, and it will migraines, headaches, heart diseases, diabetes, sleep problems, and also cause a lot of behavioral problems because people will engage in overeating, alcohol, and also drug abuse. Not necessarily the drug that you know, but sometimes falling on painkillers. So painkillers is also a drug that we can easily misuse. So during these challenging times, the pandemic affects the life of all communities, with many people who are and will continue to struggle for much longer. So it's important for all organizations to think beyond the immediate needs of a vulnerable community, but to develop long-term support needed to build resilience of these communities. So Master Cheng urges all, through COVID-19, we need to reconsider our relationship between people and our environment. As we care for those around us, how can we do this while minimizing our impact on the environment? We need to be mindful on our actions in our daily lives, such as observing a plant-based diet, to respect lives and minimize waste. So Master Cheng encouraged all the volunteers and encourage the volunteers to also encourage their relatives, friends, and those around them to observe a plant-based diet so that we can reduce our impact on the environment, besides just helping others to recover from this COVID. So Buddhist Tzu chapter will continue to work with partners to support vulnerable communities through this challenging time and beyond. Heading out of this MCO, many Buddhist Tzu chapters have initiated recovery programs to provide more individualized assistance in the coming months. So we are done with the medical, what do you call it? The medical masks, the protective equipment, but now we are going into helping communities to recover. So this morning, we actually had such a recovery program at a very poor community. And we hope that these parents will be able to bring some cash voucher, a supermarket cash voucher, and will be able to buy some basic necessity for the family. So that's when I met this electrician. I met this mother who say his husband just gone back to work, but not on the full pay. So I work in an accounting department, I work in a HR. We all know that we want to save for the company. But at the same time, when we save for the company, when we move this staff into different shifts and cut down their overtime and cut down their shift allowance, it actually affects a lot of these families. So in our relief work and in Tzu, we must do our relief work and we also do our cultivation. So I'm actually very grateful for Sister Bee Hong for always pulling me for this class, this reading class. It is a spiritual cultivation, at the same time doing relief work. So we call it Buddhism in action. And I always remind myself to gaze up the sky and say my repentance and humbly bow to Mother Earth to say my gratitude, because Mother Earth provides us everything. Thank you. Over to you, Sister Bee Hong.
I would like to thank Sister Chris and her guest speakers, Sister Yamkin and Sister Sue. And of course, Sister Lay Poh and her guest speaker, Sister Chiket. And last but not least, our Sister Kuan, who is here together. Okay, so to sum up today's session, actually, it shows us if we have the right discipline, we can overcome our physical problems to have ethical conduct, like for some of the stories mentioned earlier. And also having the right view and understanding is very important. And putting our thoughts into action. This is what Dharma Master Cheng Yen always tells us. We learn the Dharma, it goes into us, but we must put it into our action. So to sum up today's session, I would like to share this. Turn the great Dharma wheel. Everything in the world abides by the principles of arising and ceasing and is impermanent. Bodhisattvas comprehend all Dharma and abide peacefully in the state of ultimate reality. Seeing how sentient beings remain attached to illusory appearances, Bodhisattvas give rise to great compassion, help those who suffer, and constantly turn the wheel of Dharma to spread the Buddha's teaching. Cảm ơn everyone. So I will say goodbye and thank you everyone for being with us.
Sister Bee Hong, when is our next session?
Next session is in August, 7th of August.
7th of August, huh?
Yeah.
See you guys online.
Okay, see you everyone.
Okay, see you all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Great
you.
hairstyle, Bee Hong.
Sorry?
Great hairstyle.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.